I think that's the problem we have with the political world today. Like one group cannot understand. What do you mean there's nothing in the fridge? You know, what do you mean your lights are cut off? Get a job.
And life's not that easy, and it's not like we're like Marie Antoinette, like let him eat cake. I mean, it's more than that, right? So, you know, we go through this exercise every now and then with our kids where, you know, we really try to explain to them, like, there are children in the world, there are children in your own community who right now are not sitting at the table as we eat dinner as a family every night. So true. They are not sitting at a table. So they do not have food. They are frightened. They are hungry, scared. They're lonely. And they're hurting and they're crying. And the sooner you realize that, the better. Yeah. Because our own humanity exists in our ability to help one another.
Have compassion.
Welcome to Above the Legal Limit. I'm your host, Justin Chopin, business owner, lawyer, dad, world's best husband, traveler, and adventure seeker. On this podcast, we mix business with pleasure. We'll dive into growth strategies, entrepreneurial adventures, the business of law, and prove that business isn't boring. So let's get ready because we are going above the legal limit.
Welcome to an episode of Above the Legal Limit. I have a guest here today. Super excited to get to meet you and speak with you. Casmè I knew I was going to do it.
That's
every
okay.
time.
That's okay.
Every time. I was even reading it and doing it wrong. Casmè Barnes-Carter.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you being here. We met recently through your involvement with Kids for Good NOLA.
Yes, sir.
I would love for you to tell us, educate us about Kids for Good NOLA.
Well, first of all, thank you for having us on the show. I am honored to be here, and thank you for your kind heart and your contribution to the Kids for Good Center.
We were happy to help.
Listen, y'all, we are a grassroots situation, and we are in the Algiers community.
Okay.
We have been there almost a year, August 19th, and this building is a place of generosity. Right, our partners are For Good Community up north, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you like to do a kids center in New Orleans?" I said, "Okay, just tell me what that is." You know,
right.
I deal with kids all the time. I have a mentoring program for girls. We do a lot of things in the school, teaching children how to make healthy choices. We also feed communities, you know, free hot meals and things like that. And they were like, "Well, we feel like you would be the perfect person, the head spirit." They said, just tell us where you want to do it. But basically, we would have shipments come in every week, and we would bring Amazon items. It would be overstock. It would be returns. You never know what you're going to get. You may get clothes.
Sure,
you may get air fryers. You may get anything. Like swimming pools, Christmas stuff.
Basically, everything my wife buys. Yeah. When I come home, there's always a lingering question in my mind of how many boxes
can she have?
Well, from Amazon, how many of those, like the Amazon swoosh, like the check mark, like how many of those boxes will be blocking my path?
It's an addiction.
And it's sometimes. So I was like, why would you buy this? And she's like, yeah, I don't really know.
Because there's so many things. Like, we don't even know we need some of this stuff.
Exactly.
Like, sometimes we go in the boxes and we're like, what is this? And it's like, oh my God, it's one of those little cute little things you can put all the drinks on. Like when you have a party.
Right, that's exactly right. She's like, yeah, a lazy, we need a lazy Susan. I was like, I don't think we do.
So basically we allow the kids to come in and they get to go shopping for 2 items. They get something for themselves and they get something for someone special to them.
Oh, nice.
That can be a grandmother, that can be a grandpa. Honestly, we want them to look at the items and say, wow, my dad needs a pressure washer. His just broke. You know, there's a little girl came in one time and she's like, I'm gonna get this for my mom because she's always asking me to walk on her back because her back is always hurting. And it was a massager for the chair, you know? And so we just want to teach them thoughtfulness. And we've done that. We have been successful. We have probably given away hundreds of thousands of things. We were consistently doing it every single week for about 7 or 8 months.
Okay.
And then we started pulling back just a little bit because it was a lot of work for my small core of volunteers. We have a 8,000 square foot warehouse, so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of picking up and a lot of putting, things together, but it's a blessing. And so that was, the vision was for me to do that weekly giveaway for kids. And then I was like, wait, we still got a lot of stuff left over. So we started, I was like, listen team, whatever's left over, we know the kids aren't gonna come in and get. let's do a first responders giveaway. And so we would set stuff outside, and we'll be like, first responders come through today. Then we'll do a teachers giveaway. So we just start finding different ways that the whole community can benefit, and we can let those people who may think they're often forgotten about, that they're not forgotten about,
right.
just a means of appreciation. Then we start adding more layers. We're like, okay, now I was like, let's do a baby shower. So we do a community baby shower. We do 30 new moms every month on the last Monday of the month. And we tell them, come on in. We feed them. I pray with them. We give them words of encouragement from other moms that are in our organization. We play games. They win prizes. And they all get to leave with at least 2 baby items. And we try to put the baby items together for them, like bassinets
right.
and cribs and high chairs.
So that stuff it is expensive.
It's very,
right.
Man, we had something, we did
baby
like
stuff.
we did something like a scan
around.
On something. It was like $300,
yeah.
you know, so they don't have to worry about going out to find strollers
right.
and things. And a lot of them, we have them tell us a little bit about who they are. Most of them are single moms.
Yeah, sure.
With multiple children. So they can't afford, and they don't have
And they don't have time. They don't, and you start lacking, you know, hope at a certain point.
Of
and
course.
I love what you're doing because it gives hope. And, you know, the thing about, I always say, look, from my own spin, baby clothes and baby books are the largest racket out there. My son, his shirts are only this big, but they cost the same as my shirt.
Absolutely.
That's this big. And look, I mean, I'm a lawyer, so my shirts come from like Brooks Brothers.
Right,
and I'm looking at them, I was like, wait a second.
Right. Why is it the same?
Why does
price?
a 7-year-old have a shirt that costs this much?
It's crazy.
But wrong answer. My wife, wrong. My wife didn't like that. Wrong thing to say. No, I mean, she gets it. I mean,
but
and the baby books are the same thing, right? Some of them are atrocious. They're like 5 little pages long, and they're like $20.
$20.
And you read it, and you're like,
That's
okay.
The games too. The baby games, the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, really.
But look, babies need them. I mean, kids need clothes. That's what my wife always tells me. Well, I don't know. Well, Justin, you do the shopping. Kids need clothes. And then I'm like, okay, I won't never say that again. Please don't make me do the shopping for the kids' clothes. And so it's great that you can do that and that you can provide for that. And I mean, my kids aren't that old; they're 7 and 9. So being like an expecting parent, an expecting dad is still a very fresh memory for me.
And imagine doing it alone.
No, I can't. That's like
wife,
we had
so.
I had my wife, we had my family, I've got her family, and we have a community.
System.
And my siblings who had kids, like my sister still routinely will drop off like, okay, this is because she's got daughters, like this is going to carry your daughter for the next 6 months to a year, and I'm
that's a support
all right,
system.
there you go.
Less money you have to spend, right?
Right, yeah.
And so that's why we do this, because we want to give them hope, and then also give them a support system, give them a community. My motto is, it takes a village, and it really does.
It always has.
It always,
people forget that.
Always has, and I think people do forget that. And the reason that I wanted to be in that area, not only because I grew up in that area, I moved away. I went to Nashville for 10 years. I lived there. I went to Atlanta, Georgia for 5.5 years. I lived there. So I had a chance to travel the world as a recording artist to different countries, and I just saw so much, and I was like, I want to bring some of all this stuff that I've learned back to my city and to my community. And I know that was one of the top 5 communities that was like poverty stricken.
Algiers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Algiers doesn't get a lot of
resources
of the talk, right? People talk about other
they feel like
communities.
they feel like we're not New Orleans. First of all, they're like, the West Bank is not New Orleans.
Right.
We are definitely New Orleans. Okay?
Orleans Parish.
We are Orleans Parish. We didn't get into the Jefferson Parish. When you get to Gretna, yes, but we are still New Orleans. And so we also don't get some of the resources.
Yeah,
which is,
I can see that.
Which is weird. So I'm like, you know what? God gave me this opportunity. I'm going to bring it to my community. And so. It's been a blessing, and to see the families come, and so grateful and so thankful. And then we added another layer, which was the food pantry.
Right.
Because we're like, hey, we have all of these, 200, 300 families come in every week.
Wow.
They need food.
Yeah.
So we start doing canned good drives, and people dropping off canned goods and spaghetti, and they were just so grateful,
my kid's school does this every kid's school does it, right?
They should.
Right. Every school that I've always been in Catholic school. So the Catholic schools always do it, right?
Yeah.
And they always do the canned good drive. And what I thought was really interesting when my son started school was, instead of saying, like, we need lima beans, they would say, we need lima beans. And listen, my apologies.
That's okay.
We need lima beans, and no, you're not allowed to buy generic brand. And I remember thinking, like, that's a very specific instruction. Like, you can't buy an off-brand.
Wow.
And they're like, it's got to be Del Monte or something like that. And I thought, at first, I was like kind of not put off. Like, what do I care? So we're talking 5 cents. But I started thinking about it, and I said, maybe there is some merit to that. Maybe it's nice to say, I'm going to get someone a can good that would be of the same quality that I might buy for myself.
Absolutely.
Right. So I'm not buying national brand lima beans.
Kroger brand.
Right.
Winn-Dixie
I'm
brand.
confident they're the same.
Right.
I don't know why I'm not, but I'm not.
Right.
But there is like a thought there, and then I was like, okay, you know what? Actually, I like this idea, and we're gonna do this. And so now, because when we were kids, right, it was always like the last Thanksgiving's extra Jiffy, Jiffy cornbread. You had like one left over, and so you're like sort of dumpster diving, and on the one hand, anything helps, right? So if you're hungry, like food is food.
You don't care what the brand is,
but maybe it doesn't have to be a year-old, stale, thing of Jiffy bread, or what is it? What am I saying?
It's Jiffy.
Jiffy. Okay,
cornbread,
right.
Cornmeal.
Right. The cornmeal, right?
Yeah.
So the food pantry is how you and I connected, because I saw a video on Empower You NOLA, who Justin Brown runs that.
Justin.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. And he was actually one of our first podcast guests.
Oh, wow.
And so I still follow, him and everything he's doing. And he was saying that you guys had a problem at the food pantry. What's going on there?
So it was an act of hatred. It was on Juneteenth.
Okay.
And some trucks pulled up. Come to find out, the neighbors saw a couple of trucks pull up, rope the pantry.
Okay, so it's like an external structure.
It's outside.
Okay, okay.
It's outside, and they basically roped it and they pulled it down. After they pulled the pantry down, the refrigerator came down with it, so it broke. It broke the boards. It broke the refrigerator. And then about an hour after that happened, some neighborhood kids came in, and there's video of them showing throwing canned goods like kids do, and then also pushing the porta potty down, just kind of being mischievous or whatever. And so when I got the call the next morning, they were like, somebody tore your pantry down. I'm like,
what? Who would do that? Right.
A source of food for people in the community, but it was an act of hatred. So they, we went over there right away, and my partner's Brotherhood of CAD, Chef Will, we basically was like, we got to fix it. Like, we're not going to allow bullies to come mess it up and then take this opportunity away from families to eat.
Right.
So basically, we put the word out there, did a news interview, and everybody's like, how can we help? So it's still one of those things where we're still trying to rebuild the pantry.
Okay.
But we were able to, with your generous donation, able to put a refrigerator inside at least, so that like when we have mothers there and we have people coming inside, there's cold things to drink, and if we have food that they need, we can put that in there. Like for the baby shower, we're able to put the fruits and the things in there. You know what I mean?
So
to keep cool.
Be outside.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So we don't have to worry about the outside, but you also purchase one for outside as well. So we are trying to rebuild the pantry now, but instead of just rebuilding it, because about 4 or 5 days later, somebody started pulling the boards off the side that they had just put back up. So what they're trying to figure out now, if they can put some type of cage or gate around it to really minimize those.
Or a hobby. Like maybe you guys, someone needs a hobby. If the best that they can do in the middle of the night is destroy a pantry.
It's disgusting.
When I saw this, I think what really struck a chord for me is, and I grew up very privileged, and so these were new concepts to me. Yeah. But my wife was a public school teacher when we first met. And
so
I never
saw the need,
I never realized how much food insecurity there was during the summer months.
Yes.
But it makes perfect sense, right? I mean, so you get
at school, you're eating
your meal, right? Yeah. In some instances, they're getting 2 meals.
Yeah.
Right. And so I mean, like Jesuit served breakfast. Like you could buy breakfast at Jesuit, but you had to be like really hungry for that. Like that is not a meal you wanted to have.
Right.
But they would take, like the ubiquitous bread roll that comes with every standard issue, military issue child meal.
Yeah.
And they would fashion it into a donut shape and then like fry it and then call it a donut. And I remember even at like 15, I remember thinking, well, this is really not
bad.
Okay.
But you know, imagine what the public schools are getting.
I'm sure, right? Right. So the food insecurity in America is you know, it's not insignificant.
Yeah, it's not.
And it affects many communities, and especially the New Orleans community.
It does.
And all from Algiers to
Throughout,
the Ninth Ward and
everywhere,
Gentilly and everywhere, and Metairie too, for that
Yeah,
matter. I mean,
absolutely.
there are just as many
because everyone
children
living in
out there.
Metairie isn't privileged or isn't
Right.
you know, well off. Like you have some people here and there spread out, and they need food as well. It's just you just never know, you know, and that's why I'm like I offer it to anybody. You don't have to be poor to come to the kids center.
Well,
like,
you can be hungry.
Kids
right?
are kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you're hungry and you need something, sometimes people just have a season, you know, that they're going through because the father might have just lost their job or whatever.
Or they're hurt.
Yeah,
right?
and one thing we never do is make anybody feel any less than anyone else. We greet everyone with love, kindness, respect, dignity. We don't look down on anybody. One thing I tell, you know, and I have a beautiful team who all have the heart like me. We have the heart of Christ. We want to serve. We want to make people happy. What sense does it make to tell someone you can come and get some free stuff, and when they get there, you treat them like trash?
No,
or you
right.
don't speak to them, or you know, oh, come and get this. Like, no,
Then why are you
I've
something
seen
else.
it, but I've
Right.
seen it throughout
Sure.
my life. People mistreating. No, we're not going to do that. At Kids for Good, it's all good. You know, we have
Especially for kids, right? Like
kids.
Kids are innocent,
Kids are
and
innocent.
they haven't
don't
had
know.
an opportunity to grow into themselves, and
They're learning.
and they're still learning. They're still figuring
Yeah.
things out.
And we're hoping that this initiative, you know, is really teaching them that items are just items. So one of the main guys who own Kids for Good, when we talked, he said that he had heard of a little boy getting his life taken over a game controller. $40
Yes,
controller.
I read that.
That happened.
Yes.
And I think it was here in New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember, but I do remember reading about that.
And it's like really,
Over
so
that?
really,
Over
we
something
get
so
plenty of those.
insignificant, right?
We get
Sure.
keyboards, we get the gaming things, and it's just like we want them to know that these are just items. They're just things. Your life is valuable, and we value. We love you. We can bless you with this. You know, understand that it's just things. Things come and go, but your life is precious. It's priceless. You know, so.
Right.
Don't get in a fight over a thing
That's going to break
and end up dead, you know,
right?
or end up, you know, in jail, or it's a thing. It's just an item. And we're giving massive amounts of it out. So that's showing you it's not that valuable, right? Like,
Right.
yeah,
In the greater scheme of things.
But let's just look at it as it is. It's materialistic. You know, family and life, those things are priceless. So
Yes.
we're hoping to teach them that much, you know?
Well, I
A
think
lot of times on TV and the music, they're hearing that they aren't valuable. They're hearing that they are nothing. So we're like, okay, this is our opportunity. For one, it may be the only encounter they have with someone who loves Jesus, because we love Jesus, and we live to show people that he loves them, that he cares for them, and that he hears their prayers. And so a mom's like, oh, I prayed. I didn't know how we were going to eat breakfast today, me and my grandkids. And here y'all come walking down the street saying, come free breakfast down at the kids center. That's a prayer answered, you know. So.
Well, you can't tell someone these things. You can only show them.
You gotta show them.
For them to learn.
For them
and
to
so,
learn. For them
and
to know.
to learn
Or
that.
just sit.
No, I mean, that this consumption, this obsession over consumption in America is unhealthy.
It's unhealthy.
And the only way to come to that realization is through self-discovery of learning and being shown, like, no, this, okay, well, this was expensive. It will have no purpose. It will serve no function in about a year, right? Or 18 months. Maybe they're a little better than they used to be.
Yeah.
But like,
or if it got wet.
Or if it gets wet.
soaked in water right now.
It's not, this is not important. And that's everything, right? The car you drive, we'll take you where you need to go, but in 10 years, it'll just be a 10-year-old car.
And it won't go into the grave with you when it's time for us to leave.
No, it won't.
We all gonna live. We all gonna die.
No, I mean, yeah. So the only way to really understand is by showing and demonstration, and then internalizing that. I hope that works.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great initiative.
Yes.
What do you need still for the food pantry. How are you guys doing in rebuilding that?
We haven't done a drive yet because we're still trying to get that thing together, but
right.
I feel like we could go ahead and start getting things and just store it inside until the pantry is back up and running. I know they mentioned trying to secure cement or something at the bottom, and again, it's just it's something that takes time, and people aren't getting paid to do it, so that always pulls the process out a little bit.
It's a little harder, right? I mean, that's not a canned good. That's not a can of lima beans.
Yeah.
That's like when you start talking about cement. It's like
it's cement. It's
only like
wood.
so many guys who know how to do that.
It's wood. It's gates or whatever we're talking about putting together. So we're just trying to figure out how, because that hurts to know, hey, we're trying to get it back together, and then a couple of days later somebody's coming and pulling more board. Like, that's not cool. We just cleaned up, and then we come back and we have to clean up again on top. It's a lot, and I think a lot of people, they don't see all the work that goes into it. But we should definitely maybe start just collecting canned goods and things like that, so that when it is ready, we can go ahead and stock it up. Because once we stock it, it's typically gone within a day.
Okay.
Like, no
so you go through that fast. Now, what's in the refrigerator?
Absolutely. So we have a freezer on top, which is typically like meat. We get like fresh meat. People donate sausage and biscuits even. They do like breakfast biscuits and things like that. And then we have fresh fruit in the fridge, as well as like baby food, bread.
Right, so this is like wholesome food items here.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're not giving people junk. And when we do canned goods, it's like canned salmon, and tuna and canned chicken, stuff like that, as well as the macaroni and cheese. And we even have Rice Krispie treats in there. It just depends. Whatever people, because before we did the Kids for Good Center, we had a little free pantry. I saw it in Algiers Point, and I was like, how cool is that? And so my stepson, Gary Carter Jr., congressman, senator, I'm sorry. Is he senator? Is it senator, Congress? Okay, congressman is Troy Carter, right?
Right.
Okay, definitely edit this, make sure we get it right.
Yeah.
So that's my brother.
Okay.
That's my husband's brother.
Okay.
And then,
so it's your brother-in-law.
Yeah, and then Gary Jr. is my stepson.
Okay.
And he is senator.
Got it. Yes.
Wow. Okay, so
Senator,
gotta love it. Senator Gary paid for us to build the little free pantry, and we had it on Pace Boulevard.
Okay.
That was a little smaller, but what I tell you, like, I could literally leave and come back in an hour, it was gone. Wow. And it would be multiple people, because I would have people kind of like watching, like, is it the same person just coming to get everything?
Person just,
yeah. But no, whenever they saw we fill it up, they come and they get it, and it's just, whatever you can give. Stop at Walmart, stop at Winn-Dixie. Just grab a few things.
Get one more thing.
Get an extra thing. Go through your cabinet. See what you've been having in there saying you're going to cook, and you haven't cooked it in a while.
Especially right now. Hey, listen, we're in hurricane season. This is no time to be hoarding food.
That's true.
My wife and I talk about this a lot. Because, look, so I got kids. I love going to Costco. Because I'm just as bad as everybody else.
Costco, you can get a lot of it.
Yeah, like, why buy a dozen eggs at the grogrocery store when I can buy 5 dozen eggs,
right?
And I like eggs. And so and she was like, listen, Justin, it's hurricane season.
Yeah.
This is no time to be stocking up. So I was like, all right.
Even though some people say you should stock up for hurricane season.
Well, you got to stock up for hurricane items, but I wouldn't be filling my freezer right now, right? So this is the time to be like emptying out, like that skirt steak. You had really good intentions,
Absolutely, right.
So that is eventually, like, this time of year, ever since really Gustav is when I remember, we really had to make some changes in the freezer, but that's a long time ago. But certainly ever since Ida,
Ida,
we learned our, Katrina was like new. Sorry, we didn't. That was the first.
It'll go bad.
Right,
It'll go bad.
We didn't really know what we were doing for Katrina. Then Gustav hit, and we're like, this time, what we did, you take everything in your freezer and you put it in a garbage bag. I saw this really cool trick on the internet. You fill a cup full of ice cubes, right, and you leave it in there. When you come back, if it's ice cubes, you're okay.
Yeah.
If you come back and it's like a frozen cup of water, you're gonna take that contractor bag. You're gonna go straight outside with it. You're definitely not gonna open it.
That's good.
You're not gonna do that.
You're not gonna do that and knock you out.
Yeah. After
Katrina, straight to the hospital.
My sister and brother-in-law, their freezer was full of shrimp and like he's from Homa, and so all this fish, and it probably took me a better part of a year to just really be able to get over
that smell.
That yes, the smell, the odor, the linger. So it took me a long. I think
lesson learned.
Yeah, my sister probably didn't eat shrimp for years after that. You definitely don't want to do that. But I think it's a neat trick. Well, then Ida came, and now we're just like, hey.
I like that hack though. That's a good idea.
We're not even stocking up things here. We're gonna pare it all the way down.
Let's make sure we have enough to eat. And some things that we can eat. that
no one's
may
gonna
not
starve.
have to be in the fridge, right?
But if you're accepting, frozen food, like this is the time. Yeah. This is the time to do that.
And I was even thinking, like, if we have a big drive, that same day we could do a giveaway, for real. Like if we say, hey guys, drop off stuff from 10 to 12 or 10 to 1, and then at 3 o'clock we'll do a giveaway. That way we also can kind of get it moving really quick. It doesn't have to sit
Sure.
We want to be able to bless people right away anyway. So
we want to help with the drive. Okay. So keep us posted.
Absolutely.
We definitely. I know my marketing manager Helena. I know y'all have talked. Mm-hmm. I told her, look, if they need something, just to let us know. We're not going to let kids go hungry.
We appreciate that.
Not in this community. Yeah. And I don't care. When it comes to kids and food, like I don't even care if you're not hungry. Like take it.
Take it, yeah, because you're gonna get hungry tomorrow.
You might get hungry because you're a child.
Exactly.
You don't know any better.
But kids are always hungry because they're always busy.
Man,
always little busy bodies.
my kids are definitely always hungry.
Metabolism through the roof.
If I had even half the amount of like ice cream bars that those kids, I was like, I told my wife, I was like, we're not buying any more ice cream bars. This is getting ridiculous.
This girl had 90 cupcakes at her party. I'm like, and all these kids, they all took cupcakes home. They were eating cupcakes. I'm like, listen,
right
through the roof. They don't stop. As soon as you get home, I want cake. I'm like, you just had cupcakes.
Yes, that was the cake.
Yeah, right. And then you had chocolate covered Rice Krispie treats, and you had this and that, all these sweets. That's enough.
Yeah, we just went through this.
But they're kids.
They're kids.
They're gonna eat.
And so I get accused of I say if my child asks me for something, the answer is no matter. I don't care what he's asking for. I just say no.
Yeah.
He can be like, "Can I have a glass of water?" I'm like, "No," and then I'll be like,
and then he go and get it anyway.
Fine. You're gonna fine. But like my first, I find no is always the best answer to anything.
And then it make you look like a saint when you say yes.
Yeah, right. And my answer is no. And so I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress too. And so I still stand by it though. So my wife was recently traveling for work. She's a lawyer. She was gone for the better part of 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And, I got to get the kids to school and camp or whatever. And then I got to do this thing, right? This lawyer thing.
Of course.
And then I got to leave and then go get them and then go home and then make the dinner and do it all.
Duties.
Right?
Daddy duties.
So man, when my son was like, "Can I have an ice cream?" I'm like, Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Just do me a favor.
Just
go eat it over there. Just go eat it over there.
But how cool is that though, that you can say sure and that there is ice cream?
That there is ice cream and we can do that. My kids are very fortunate. They don't even know.
They don't have. I mean, so I did some substitute teaching, vocal coach. I was like a vocal coach and choir director at this school after school program. And I had bought my own little lunch with me, and it was after school. So this little girl, I was eating something out of my bag, and she looked in my bag, and she was like, "Miss Casmè, can I have that orange?" She was like, "I'm so hungry." I said, "You so hungry?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "They didn't feed y'all lunch?" She said, "Yeah, we did." She said, "But I'm gonna eat some of it now and save some for later." I said, "Oh, you want?" I said, "When you get home, your mama not gonna have some dinner for you?" She said, "No." She said, "My mama only feeds my sister who's pregnant, so we don't get dinner." She said, "The only time we eat," and this little girl was like 9. She said, "The only time we eat is at school."
Yeah, I mean, my 9-year-old.
Right after that, I started the pantry.
Right, my 9-year-old's got like 20 meals a day.
Yeah.
We call her Snacks. Actually, no joke.
Yeah, Snacks, because she does the eat.
Like, all right, Snacks. That's heartbreaking.
It is,
to
but
hear.
Something that's an orange.
Right, something simple. Right. We do really try to work with our kids on this because in a world of so much, it's hard to conceptualize those that have so little.
I think that's the problem we have with the political world today. Like one group cannot understand What do you mean there's nothing in the fridge? You know, what do you mean your lights are cut off? Get a job, work. You know,
it's not. Yeah, life's not that easy, and it's not even. It's not like we're like Marie Antoinette, like letting me cake. I mean, it's more than that, right? It's difficult to conceptualize a world where so you know we go through this exercise every now and then with our kids, where you know we really try to explain to them like there are children in the world. There are children in your own community who right now are not sitting at the table as we eat dinner as a family every night.
So true.
They are not sitting at a table. So they do not have food. They are frightened. They are scared. They're lonely, and they're hurting and they're crying. And the sooner you realize that, the better. Yeah. Because our own humanity exists in our ability to help one another.
Have compassion.
Right? And you do it, you know, one orange at a time.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And not with just words.
I used to ask my mom to make me an extra, and mind you, my parents had 8 kids. I'm the oldest of 8, 7 girls and 1 boy. I would ask my mom to, because I was bullied because I was just so happy all the time, and I love everybody, and I'm teacher's pet, and everybody just loved me, you know. But then there were some that just couldn't stand me, so I would get bullied sometimes. One girl, one day she like pushed me and took my food or whatever, and so the next day I asked my mom could she pack an extra lunch for me, and I gave it to her.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, she was one of those people, and you never know what people are going through, but later on I realized she was being physically abused, sexually abused at home. They didn't have much, like just a bully because she's caring. How can you expect someone to be happy when they're hungry? You know,
sure.
When you get hungry, you get irritable.
I'm angry, yeah.
So if that is your life, if that is your lifestyle, and you see other people and they are fine, you become bullied. Hurt people. And that was a lesson that my parents taught me at a very young age. So I didn't add to it. I always was compassionate and tried to be understanding. Even if I didn't know the situation, I know that it's nothing personal against me because they don't know me.
Right.
And I'm a good person, and I'm trying to be kind. And
that person's not necessarily a bad person
they're not
either.
Bad.
They just have a rotten deal.
They're hurting.
And you know, you were blessed to be in a family of 8.
I was blessed to be around love. You know, we weren't rich at all. My father was a landscaper and paint contractor. My mom was an at-home mom with all those kids. She cooked and, you know, made things work. At one point, we had to get the commodity, which was the cheese and stuff, where she had to go in line and get that. At one point, we had food stamps, and my dad was working, but, I mean, you're talking about a big household. And
that's a lot of food. That's a lot of kids.
And he worked for a lot of well-off people. I mean, we would cut grass on St. Charles, and they would bless us with things because they knew me and my little sisters would be out there cutting grass, you know, and I got old enough at 9 and 10. And we were blessed to get hand-me-down clothes that were nice, guests and all this. And, you know, a lot of kids just aren't blessed and fortunate. And so even though we weren't in the best condition, we were blessed. You know, people blessed us. My parents were believers, and they prayed for what we needed, and God granted that. So at a certain point, my dad would go to Sunbeam. Instead of y'all throwing that bread away, on the last day, he would go and purchase it. I remember it was like $60 to fill up his truck bed. And we would take that truck bed down the street from our house. We would stand up, and all the people in the community would come with their little grocery bags, and my dad would let them fill their bags up. And when I saw the joy and the happiness that this brought to those families, that's what led me to continuously do the Feed the Community. I call it Blessings on the Bricks. But that's what created my initiative to give back, because I saw that, and I knew we were blessed. You know, even if we had rice with salt and pepper on it and butter, it was still a meal, and I knew some kids didn't have that, you know.
I actually love that meal.
I love it too.
I eat that all the time.
I love it.
You know, Lindsay was out of town, and my son was doing something. I made him, like, you know, classic dad move. I was like, just eat some nuggets. And put it in, right? Yeah. And when you're having, like, fend for yourself, I absolutely had dinner of white rice with butter and salt and pepper.
With butter, salt, and pepper, get you right.
I was happy to have it. But, you know.
I still love that, but, you know.
But still, yeah.
You have the choice of eating.
It may not be my first choice, right? It may not be my first choice, I suppose. But I'm happy to have it. Well, listen, I think what you're doing is great.
Thank you.
We want to help. We want to continue to help. If you're watching this, Kids for Good
Kids
NOLA.
for Good, yes.
I need you to check it out and
we need
find out how you can
too.
help.
Yeah, we need volunteers. We need baby stuff for the baby showers. Pampers are. I get messages all the time. Do you guys have Pampers?
Okay.
So Pampers, baby formula, baby food.
Formula is another one of those items.
My $22.
And my kids all had. They all had they weren't lactose intolerant. I don't know what it was. The milk protein.
Okay.
It was the milk protein they had an issue with. So we had to get the special formula.
Yeah.
And in those days, my law firm was brand new. So it was I had my first daughter, my first child, the same 6 months that I started the law firm. So I started the law firm in September.
You had a lot going on.
By February, my daughter was born. And so, when I saw the tin, I can't remember, Nutramigen. That's what and it's nasty. It smells like dry chicken broth. Mm-hmm. And when I saw the tin of that was like $40, I remember thinking okay, well, how many is she going to go through? And my wife would be like, well, we'll need one every 3 days or 2. I was like, wait, what?
Oh yeah, it's so true.
I was like, that's
especially if you're not breastfeeding. If you're breastfeeding, you're good, you're natural, but a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, people aren't. And when you start looking and the numbers, I crunched the numbers. I said, it's more expensive to feed our newborn formula than it would be for me to go out to lunch in the central business district of New Orleans every single day.
Every single day.
It was at that time I stopped going out. I stopped going out to lunch. That was when I saw. And now it's a thing. Everyone, I eat at my desk. And the reason is because at one point in time, I was still trying to figure things out, and I was buying formula. Then she had to get on prescription formula, which we were I couldn't have been happier in my life because then the insurance covered it.
Thank you, Lord.
I was like, thank God she's got an allergy.
Right. It is not a game.
But if I didn't have that, I can only imagine. So diapers, formula.
Failures, how can I feed my baby?
We were 2 lawyers, and I was looking at that. I was like, wait, that's a couple $100 a week.
Yes.
So, in those days, we were on a $100 a week budget. That's how we did. That's how I started the law firm.
That budget. Yeah.
That was our budget. And so that's, we did that for, probably about a year, and so that's what you have to do to make a business run. Yeah. I think we're going to be in touch,
Absolutely.
Diapers, formula. I think that's great. Yeah. When you do the food drive, let us know. Maybe we'll go back. We'll let Justin Brown know over at Empower You NOLA, so maybe he can get the word out there too.
Course,
but,
I want to you guys.
Kids for Good NOLA. Where can they find you?
So Instagram and Facebook at Kids 4 Good NOLA. And you send us a DM. We answer our DM. So if you want to donate something, if you want to drop something off, Tuesdays are typically our volunteer days. So we need help on Tuesdays, setting things up. That would also probably be a day we would do a giveaway or a drive or something. So Tuesdays is that day. And then every 2nd and 4th Saturday is when we do our kids giveaways. So we also welcome gently used toys and things as well, because Amazon, they don't send us a lot of toys. They send us mostly household items. Sometimes we get electronics and things, but we are also always looking for gently used toys as well.
Well, say no more, because
if
there's one thing I got, it's gently used toys. Okay. So I routinely
and clothes for kids for sure.
Because mine are the youngest now of the family, so we don't have any
to pass
them on to. And I donate all my things. I go to Bridge House, and I just on my way downtown, I'll stop at Bridge House.
They sell this stuff, right?
They sell it, and then they use the proceeds from the sale to then fund
some of the projects.
All these projects they have going on. But we're not going to forget about you.
Yeah.
And so, Kids for Good NOLA, we have they're always growing, and they're always becoming interested in new things and disinterested in old things. So there's just always sort of evolving.
We'll get a cargo van over there.
Yeah, there's I've got contractor bags all over my house.
Oh wow!
So we're going to be in touch. We're going to be in touch.
Sounds good. Well, I want to thank you so much. God bless you and your business.
You too. Thank you.
You didn't have to do that, but you did, and we are very, very grateful.
We're happy. We're happy to help, truly. And so thanks you also for coming on the show so you can tell us all about all the good works you're doing. And we'll be in touch. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me today on Above the Legal Limit. If you enjoyed the show and you want to hear more about business and law, hit that subscribe button. If you didn't like the show, keep it to yourself. Remember, there's no limit to what we can achieve. We will see you next week. Until then, even though we're above the legal limit, let's drive safely. Cheers, everyone.